Hey everyone, it's Trader Rob. Today is Sunday, August 17th. Looking forward to the new trading week here. Had a really nice Thursday and Friday of trades, which kind of turned that week around for me from last week. Much better price action, a lot more signals coming out, and just some pretty easy trade setups that I was able to find that I'll share with you guys here in a little bit. I'm also going to go into the new weekly bands for this upcoming week on the ES and the NQ and all of the tradable levels that you can scalp from and make some profits from the market. All that coming right up after the intro. As always, nothing that I state on my channel is financial advice. Trading futures or any type of trading is risky business. Any capital that is out there is at risk for loss. All right, so let's jump into the ES, which I've got up on the chart right now. As you can see, I've drawn out this new weekly band here that now sits at the 64.42 down to the 64.07. Very strong level here at the 64.12. So good amount of volume right here in between this weekly band. Directly below it, we've got another band at 63.73 down to 63.30. Remember, these are my very, very strong bands. This is where you're going to see your really big reactions off of volume. And then we get the tradable levels that are the dotted lines that I have on here. That these are a lot more what I would call scalpable levels that you can, you could go for 3, 5, 7 points on the ES. Sometimes you're going to get some really big reversals, but truly the big reversals do come from the bands. And then as far as any new tradable levels on the ES, I've got one sitting at right in between this weekly band here, which I really like. And let me just get this one colored up right. And that one is going to sit at 64.25. Okay, so pretty much smack dab in the middle of this weekly band right here. So mark this off on your charts. Chart off the weekly bands, the 64.42 down to the 64.07, and then obviously chart out this tradable level at 64.25. I think I got one above that. I got one actually above where price action is at. Markets are open, so it's about 7 o'clock, 7:05 here Central Time. So they've been open for about 2 hours. And this one's going to be at 64.8750. So right above where price action currently sits. I can anticipate some kind of reaction at this level, 64.8750. And then below us, this has been one that I've been talking about now for maybe about a week and a half. Obviously, price action needs to have a pretty big drop to get down there. But this 63.04 down to the 63.02, again, definitely going to see a reaction there on the ES, but price action has to make a pretty big drop to get down there. So this will be interesting here. We'll see, you never know, maybe by the end of the video we'll see some kind of reaction right here at the 64.87. On the NQ, we've got a new weekly band sitting above where price action currently is at, which is nice because we haven't had really any weekly bands sitting above price action. But finally, that Thursday, Friday, we got some retracements in the market, which is exactly, if you watch the video that I talked about on Wednesday, it's exactly what I needed personally to start seeing volume starting to show up right here. Where if you looked at the video on Wednesday, the volume was pretty flat. So now it's starting to rebalance out a lot of the volume, and that's where it starts to kind of leave clues, which I really like. So again, you got a weekly band at the 24.070 down to the 23.982. We got another weekly band right below where price action is at the 23.726 down to the 23,621, and then another band with not much room in between, 23,582 down to 23,517. Now let's mark out the tradable levels on the NQ, and there's a few of them here. So, yeah, of course, every time I go to do a thumbnail, I delete my drawing tool, and I always forget to put it back on. All right, so first one's at 23,806. Let me just pop this guy right here and stop this here, 23,806. Okay, so that's a tradable level that you have on the NQ below where price action currently sits, 23,806. We've got another one. Let's put the one that's above where price action currently is. And this one's going to be at 23,916. Okay, so where price action currently is above where price action currently is sitting at. Again, 23,916, tradable level, scalpable, 10, 15, 20 points on the NQ. And 23,640, 642. This is another one here. Dotted, and that'll be 23,642. Yeah, so down towards the bottom end of this range of this weekly band sits another tradable level at 23,642. You got another one at 23,806 that I just talked about, and above us 23,916. Let's take a look at this ES. We're getting close to this level here. All right, so let me talk about the signals and the trades that I took from Thursday and Friday of last week, which obviously came out after my video from Wednesday. So this is actually was this Thursday or was this 8/14? Was this Wednesday evening? No, Thursday. Called out a short at the 23,941 on the NQ. What did I say here? Very interesting short on the NQ. Has a good risk to reward, which it did. Might struggle. So listen to these words that I'm putting in. This is obviously way before price action hits this level. Might struggle to get to TP2, but still a decent setup. Only issue with this one is a ton of liquidity sitting 7 to 10 points above the stop loss. So above stop loss over here, I mentioned that there was a good amount of liquidity sitting about 7 points under. And I said that it would struggle to possibly get to TP2. Now, take a look at the chart. If you look at it, this is on the NQ. I'm sorry, on the MNQ, the micro hit it with no problem. So the hit my entry, very little drawdown, which is exactly what I'm looking for in my signals, all based on volume, 1,000% based on volume, and came and tapped into TP2 by a few points. But I was trading this on the NQ, and as you can see, here is my entry at the 23,941. And this came right back again. Very good entry. Very little drawdown. Struggled a little bit back up above our entry. Came right back down. We missed TP2 on the NQ trade by a point. So the MNQ hit the TP2. The NQ missed it by probably about a point and a half. But still, nice trade. I was able to take some nice profit out of that trade. All right, had called out for another signal. This one might be a little confusing, but I had called out for, let me see if this, make sure that this is, my main worry is the push that might go hard to the 23,820s. Okay, so this was a long setup on the NQ at the 23,853. with obviously my two TPs right above it. And then I had a stop loss at 23,839. And what I commented on was that there could get a hard push to the 23,820s, which was this level, this 5-minute level that I had down here that I marked off, that there was a good amount of volume sitting there. And that was kind of my only worry with this signal. And let's see if I can get to this one. And again, TP1 and TP2 hit perfectly. I mean, maybe 2 points of drawdown, and just went straight to TP1 and TP2 on that trade, which was awesome. Called out another signal on the ES for a long at the 64.7350. Okay, so remember this one. So long at 64.7350. Now, what did I say here? Decent setup on the ES long, B grade trade. So I like to grade them. Obviously, my A plus are my official signals, and then I like to give, B plus, B, B minus, possibly a C, but very rarely do I even post anything like that. Decent setup on the ES long, careful at the open. 64.65 level has a lot of volume and may want to sweep, which is why it gets a grade of B. So if you look at this chart, what I was talking about was 64.65, which sits right underneath the stop loss. Again, if you're a member of mine, or you've been watching the videos, the way I don't come up with my take profits, I don't come up with my entry, my take profits, or my stop loss out of any type of risk to reward, any type of ratio. I base everything off of volume and what I see on the volume chart. That's it. So I would like to see a level of defense. I'd like to see some volume in between my entry and my stop loss. And I would like to see a free flow of volume to my take profits. So that's the way that I, and then sometimes, you pull up a trade and it looks fantastic and the risk to reward is absolute shit. Obviously those I can't post, but or I don't put them out as an official signal. But what I'm looking for is the perfect setups. That's why I consider them when they come in as an official signal, like this one down here that was official signal. It's meant to have very little drawdown, have really good resistance with volume, and for it to have an easy time to get to TP1 and TP2. So let's talk about this setup that I've kind of explained to you what my theory was on this trade. Did take I think a winner. Yes, I think a winner on this trade, and this one was awesome. I mean, you can't get much closer than that. I mean, you really can't. The entry was like to the freaking tick and came up to TP1. This one really sucked because it did struggle. I think I was maybe about 2 ticks or 3 ticks away from TP2, which would have been a fantastic trade on the ES, but only was able to get TP1 on that trade. And then I even gave the chart that kind of broke this whole thing down as to kind of what I was looking at. And as you can see where my entry was, right at the shelf of this volume, high volume node that was right here. There's a lot of different confluences that I'm seeing. It's an area where price action broke structure. There's a lot that goes into these, and I know I promised I would do a video on the exact way that I come up with my setups. But it's been kind of crazy for me this last like 4 or 5 weeks. So I promise you I'll get around to it, but I am putting a lot more diagrams so what people can see. I mean, you could see this where my TP, and I was a little aggressive with my TP2. Even just looking at the chart one more time, I probably could have moved. Well, this is a little, no, I don't think volume would have changed. I don't think this PLC would have changed much by this point at the time I took the screenshot. But if this green line was right at the POC or right below it, that would have hit my TP, which that's why I was off by those 2 or 3 ticks on the take profit 2. But you can see this was a perfect kind of setup for me. Entry right off of the high volume node. Okay, so right off the edge. And it's not just one thing, because there's tons of these nodes that you come up. You have to have the whole entire picture. The whole picture has to be seen here. So what happened with price action previously? Well, we got this huge break of structure. So we had a big move. This is where my levels come into play. This is where my levels come into play. And so this was an area of interest for me. Volume profile, for the daily volume profile then, that gives me my entry. It's right above where the big push, or right where the origination of the big push to the upside. Found the shelf, and then what do we see in volume profile here? We see this kind of, I guess, kind of a flipped over Y, but you can see where volume just drops off. That's what I'm looking for to get to my take profit 1 and take profit 2. Okay, again, maybe a little greedy on the take profit 2, but I do think that this POC might have moved a little bit just from when I took the screenshot to when the trade came in. But if this would have been right here, perfect trade. But either way, I mean, you could see that the momentum, this is what I'm looking for in my setup. And then for my stop loss, you can see that it's got to go through a very big piece of volume to take this stop loss off. So there's a reason for the stop loss, there's a reason for the entry, there's a reason for take profit 1, and a reason for take profit 2. And I don't think that was all of them. I think there was one more that this guy right here. So this is another signal that I had put out. It was an entry. Let me do it this way. It was an entry on the NQ at the 23,763. Again, a little bit more drawdown than what I like to see. And to be quite honest, when I start to see that the entry wasn't right on the dot or pretty damn close to the dot, you know, I'll usually start to look to target TP1. And this one did hit TP1, but that was all that it was able to muster. We were not able to get to TP2 on that trade. But again, it was just a really good Thursday, Friday of trades. It's exactly what I was asking for the markets to kind of give me, and it gave me. So that was extremely, extremely nice. And I'm looking forward to, I think this week's going to be pretty fantastic with trades. I think the market right now, where it currently sits, let's see here, where it currently sits, now we're starting to see some, you know, a little bit of a range that it's now forming at the top end. And it's going to want to revisit some of this volume, especially volume down here. To be honest with you, there's a lot of volume below us that really needs to get unbalanced or balanced back out. So it could be a wild week in the markets. But hopefully you're enjoying this kind of content. If you're interested in joining my signals, it's $39.99. Let's call it $40 a month. You can join on Discord. You can join through YouTube. If not, I've got the videos for how I create my levels and how I incorporate volume profile into. They're both linked in the description below. Highly encourage you to look at that. And you can kind of compare my levels that I give out each and every day on my free Discord. You know, every day that all the levels are mapped out for the NQ and for the ES. Or this is the NQ and the ES. And you can start to compare what I am coming up with and versus what you're coming up with as well. And that's that's all I got. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. If I provide you with any value, that would be awesome. Subscribe if you haven't, and look out for my video on Wednesday. Take care, everyone.